What up guys, how you guys doing? I'm Thales and we're back with another how to slice. In today's how to slice video, we're gonna be checking out a awesome controller case. So let's go to the video. So this is the Dragonscale Control case. As you can see, this is a really nice model, and in this video, we're gonna be checking out the best print settings to print it. So let's go. So as you can see, this is a really nice cover for your controller, and this model looks quite nice. Right here we got the PS5 version and the Xbox version. In this model we're going to be changing the settings and painting on support, because as you can see right here, our models really need support. We're going to be taking a look more specific on the PS5, but every settings I'm going to show you right now will apply to the Xbox version. Just where you're going to be painting is different, but it's going to be quite easy. I'm going to be showing you where to paint and how to paint really nice to get a good result. So let's go to the print settings. So first off, right here in layer height, we're going to be decreasing this value to 0.16 millimeters. By reducing to 0.16 millimeters, we're going to be reducing this value, so we're going to have to print more layers. It's going to take more time to print, but we're going to have a finer and better quality. So this is quite nice. It is all worth it. Right here on vertical shelves, we're going to be leaving at 3 just to get a really rigid model. Going over to infill, we're going to be printing with 0% infill. By reducing to 0% infill, we're just going to have the outer perimeter right here. This is going to make sure our cover is solid and we get a good end result. Going over to skirt and brim, let's analyze if this model really needs brim. So right here, as you can see, brim is a really nice feature to increase the surface of contact to the build plate. So all of the parts that are touching the build plate, as you can see right here, especially this part right here, it's really low. So take a look. This model is quite high and it's only touching the build plate right here. So it's really tiny. So we're gonna have to increase this surface of contact to the build plate by adding some brim, because by having a really small area, it's going to compromise our bed adhesion. So your print can unstick from the build plate or tip off. This is why cleaning your build plates help a lot to remove all of the dust and oils from your finger that are on the build plate, because it will impact the bed adhesion, and having a build plate clean is going to make sure you got a good bed adhesion. And having a really well leveled printer, it's going to help a lot to have a good first layer, and a good first layer will grab on to the build plate and it's going to make sure that your prints are not going to unstick. But something else you can do is put a fine layer of glue stick. So there's a lot of options to increase your bed adhesion. But what I would recommend is by adding some brim. Brim is a really nice option, but make sure you always clean your build plate. Do not add infinite brim, really big brim. Just clean your build plate and put a nice value on the brim width. Right here on this model, I'm going to be setting a whole model, so a brim to both pieces, on 9mm brim width. This is going to secure our models to the build plate. So this is quite nice. We're not going to have any issues. Right here on support material, we're going to be generating support material. I'm going to be painting on support, but feel free to auto generate. But it's going to take too much time if you auto generate, and sometimes it adds support to parts that do not need support. But feel free to do so. It's going to increase some hours on your print. I'm going to be selecting a organic style just because this model's got curvatures. So this way it's going to help by setting to a organic. This is a variation of tree support. It's the same thing, but Prusa calls it organic style. Over here on top, interference layers I'm gonna be reducing to 2, just so we can get a easier support to remove. So our settings are quite fine. Feel free to choose the settings that you find best for your support. Sometimes you got a good settings that you are really familiar with, so feel free to use the settings you may like. So now let's paint on support in the areas that really need support. So first off, this one, if you take a look, let's analyze, let's start painting. So just select right here. By increasing the highlight overhang by angle, you can be increasing to 30%, and it's gonna show the areas that need support. So you can see this blue part right here. This is a part that it's touching the build plate. So we do not need any support right here because there is support touching the build plate. But right here, if you increase, so let's say if you increase too much to 90%, it's going to show the angles that need support. Setting this value to around 30 to 40% is going to show where you really need support. So it's showing us that it needs support right here. But we can be printing this model without any support. As you can see, this part is the interior part of our controller. And so no one's gonna see, and this is a really tiny part. So we can be printing without any support. But if you find it better, you can just click on it and paint a little bit of support. Feel free to add support in this region. I would say this is optional because, as I've shown you before, this is going to be the inside part and there's not too much alarm going on right here. Let's say if you paint it wrong, you can just select Shift and erase. So for this part, we can say that we have painted quite nice. Let's go on to this part right here that is a little bit harder. So we can select paint on support, increasing, let's increase to 30% as I have shown before. So around 31 right here. As I said before, around to 30 to 40, it's good. So as you can see, these parts are being touched from the build plate, so we're not going to be adding any support right here. These connections right here do not have are not being supported by the build plate, so we're going to be drawing some support right here. As I have said, as I've shown right now, I reduced the brush size so we can get a more critical print right here, a good paint actually. In this part, it's showing where you need support. This is an arc, but we're gonna be adding just to make sure we got a good quality print. It's better to paint and having a good support than not painting and having a not really good or some scars or some paint issues due to a lack of support. So as you can see, I have painted right here. This part really needs support because it's being printed at mid-air. So we're going to be adding right here. And now let's increase the brush size for this other part. So this is going to be the interior of your controller. So if there are some scars, you do not need to worry, but the support will help a lot. So you can just go on, paint quite nice. If you have a Xbox controller, you can do the same thing. It's gonna show the areas that need support. This is better. I always say it's better to be safe than sorry. Right here on this connection, I'm gonna be adding a little bit of support too, just because this is going to attach both parts together, so both models together, and you gotta get a good connection, because if it doesn't print right, you're going, it's not gonna attach really well. Right here on this upper part, it painted on support without us needing to. So we're just gonna select Shift and Clean. Just give it a wipe. It's, if you were to print it like this, you're not gonna have any problems, but it's just to get a clean look. So this is quite nice. We are ready. So we have painted on support on both parts. So this is a good tip to paint your models. This is gonna save a lot of filament right here. This is going to save a lot of filament, and you're gonna get a good end result. So this is quite nice. Going back right here to the print settings, on speed, you can be printing this model at the standard print speed. You do not need to reduce this value, especially for Bambu Lab printers. Just make sure that your first layer speed is at a good and low value. Right here, I set to 20 millimeters a second. It was set to 30 on the Ender 3v3 SE. By reducing this value, you're gonna have a good first layer speed, a slow first layer speed, that's gonna turn out into a good quality first layer, and the first layer is the most important layer because all of the other layers are gonna go on top of this one. So guarantee that you got a good, a really slow first layer to get a good end result. Feel free to change this value as you may like. I always recommend printing really slowly. It's better to print slowly one time than having to print 3 times, printing really fast, with it failing multiple times. So print really slowly. So now we are ready to slice. And as I have said before, this model, the Xbox version, can be printed with the same print settings as I have shown you right now. Just adapt the paint on support. And if you do not like the paint on support, you can be choosing the auto-generate support. So let's slice. So as you can see, we have slice, and it added some custom brim right here. So a 9mm brim to help a lot with the bed adhesion, and our support that we have painted. So it's gonna turn out really nice. Right here on this model, the support is optional. As I have said before, it does not need support. As you can see, it's gonna paint really nicely. It's gonna support a lot our part right here, as you can see, and we're gonna have a really nice print. As you can see, going over to speed, right here on the yellow part, it reduces the speed while printing small parameters. So this is quite nice. You can be printing this model, as I have said before, with the same print settings. So grab a really nice filament that you have laying around and print this model right now.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Those slicing videos are an initiative from STL Academy, which is the educational project from STLflix. So if you guys want to learn more about 3D printing, you could check our description and look at STL Academy courses. And don't forget, see you guys at the next slicing.